Howdy, folks. It's Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Mayonnaise. It is like exactly midnight when I'm starting to film this. We are going to do an unboxing here of the Pratzen Austerlitz 1805. This is a game by Peter Perla, published by Canvas Temple Publishing. If you don't know, Peter Perla recently passed away. He is considered a seminal figure in wargaming. He wrote the book The Art of Wargaming. He's participated in the realm of professional wargaming for all these years. He has 4 game designs of his own, one of them a co-design. So this one here is his last game. Previously, he had published 2 Civil War games, Bloodiest Day and Antietam, September 17th, 1862, and They Met at Gettysburg. Those were both published through Spearhead Games. They are area movement games. He did a co-design with Richard Berg, Risorgimento, 1859. That's on the Second Italian War of Independence. That was published by GMT Games. And now this latest one on Austerlitz, part of the Austerlitz battle, French versus the Austrians and Russian in the area called the Pratzen Heights. So it's a portion of the Austerlitz battle. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out of the shrink. And in the interest of trying to do shorter video these days, I'm going to go ahead and do that offline, and I'll sort of splice things together. All right, the shrink has been removed. We are taking a look at the back of the box. Here's a portion of the map. There you can see Pratzen. I'll zoom in here so you can read this a little better. It's rated as medium to almost medium-high, solitaire suitability with a complexity at the medium scale. We have 2 standard size 22 by 34 maps, 5 hexes counter, so that's nice, especially for people with old eyes like myself, player aids, deck of event cards, 8 6-sided dice, so that'd be interesting to see what the combat resolution system is if you're including 8 dice. So I'm not going to read the blurb on the back of the box, but it does say that it is originally based off of SPI's old Grenadier system. So how close it is or not, don't know. But we will see as we dig in. So let's tilt this down here and zoom out and open her up. All right. So I think what I'll try to do is prop it up a little like that. And I need to go back so that I can. Well, that's always this what distance and angle to put these at so you can see the mostest, bestest. The closer I zoom in, the better you can read it, but the less you can see all at once. So we have a playbook on glossy paper. I'm going to go through everything here first real quick to see what's in it, and then we will start to examine the components. Playbook, rules of play. It feels like the rulebook's thicker than the playbook. 8 pages, 20 pages, yep. Oh, two rules of play. I don't know if that was intentional or not, or I think the back of the box just said 1 rule book. So I got 2. I don't know if they all inadvertently had that, or no, there's 2 playbooks and 2 rules of play. So I don't know, again, if they're all like that way, but that's handy for each of you to be able to refer to than that. Now, I think I saw somewhere a review, someone was saying that There's a lot of charts in the rule books that it would have been nice to have player aids. So maybe they decided to, a lot of baggies, many baggies. Baggies that got sort of folded over and bent. Some vendors will like roll up or fold the baggies, put a little rubber band or something, and that helps them get increased like this. But there's your 8 dice, 6 whites, 2 reds, 1 demoralization and phase track. Single side, obviously, if you're having this down and you have to move things out, you don't want anything on the back. Put that over there. Now, we've got 2 maps. I usually like the map to be the visual side out, but I suppose this helps prevent wear and tear on the visual play surface. But I just like to be able to see like which map is which, and that's kind of my thing. We will take a look at the map early on. A lot of people like to see the visual stuff in this world that we live in now. People are less focused on the words and more on the imagery. So, and you're here listening to me talk about this stuff, so at least you don't have to read as much yourself. But we will try to give the people what they want. So this is single-sided. Big order of battle sheet here. The coalition army, the Austrians over here. The Russians have 3 brigades. All right. Counters. How many counter sheets did it say again? It was 2, right? 5/8" counters. People like to see the counters. So this will be visual stop concentration number 1. We will look at those first, then go to the maps, and then look at these other cards in more detail. Okay, so here, well, there is a player aid card. Now that is interesting. So either the person, either I'm thinking of a different review that I read recently, or maybe they added player aids after the fact. It did say player aids on the back, didn't it? 2 player aid cards, it does indeed. So maybe my brain is messing stuff up. Or maybe there's other charts and tables in the rules that just didn't make it onto these player aids. That's possible. But certainly there are player aids. That is very true. So I may be completely mistaken on which review I was thinking about. Okay, so these obviously will be 2 identical player aids. So let's put those back in the box right now and give you the visual feast of the counters. Now, I'm going to zoom in and look at part of these. So we've got what looks like 6 relevant numbers. 3 across the bottom is pretty standard. 3 on the top. And I'm assuming this little number, that's some kind of unit designation thing. So that's not necessarily critical to play. It looks like we have colored bars here that are for, determining units, maybe for, activation, command, and control. Some of these are, that's like tan with black and tan with red. Is this tan here the same as this tan? That's an HQ. That should be the HQ for these. Wow, that's someone's colorblind. This could be problematic. It's like, was that salmon with red lines on the outside and red with salmon lines on the outside? Or besides that very fine color detail, in general, these are relatively easy to read at this size of counter. Oh, a negative number. Interesting. I wonder. Oh, that is interesting that they actually have a plus here for positives and minus for negatives. So there's definitely some kind of modifier, whether it's like to your fire roll or to rally or shock or something. I do not know. That is something to discover. Something here LC, I'm assuming is light cavalry. I assume this last number here is movement. So that is probably a fire combat modifier. If these are lancers or saber cavalry, they're not going to have any range. They're not like dragoons that dismount and fire or something. All right, we've got hit markers, fired markers, so keeping track who was fired already in the turn, which is kind of an unfortunate kind of clutter. Personally, I think I would rather use something like a small little bead or something that I might put on a counter to indicate that a unit has fired or something like that. You know, people have lots of little bits and bobs that they use. Is that too close? I'm going to go out a little bit now since we've looked at the details of some close up. What is this? This looks like a supply wagons. Okay, so there's the supply symbol there, which it's white and dark green on a light green. It sort of gets, but I can see it's 2 horses in a cart kind of thing. I don't like graphic images trying to be that small. I would rather see like some side silhouette of something that looks like a cart or something myself personally, but that's me. Your mileage may vary, of course. All right, so let's look at the next. Oh, whoa, this is almost all markers. It is all markers. Out of command, low ammo, squares, smoke, a lot of black powder, defeated route, turn, phase, more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. All right, so interesting, this is divided as a half sheet here, and I wonder if we weren't supposed to get 2 of these. That's my stomach gurgling. Yeah, I wonder if they, what was the original intention, is to save any, because that will just break right in half. But the thing is, like, this top section here is identical to the bottom section. They may have even intended to cut these, and you get this quarter sheet, because this says sheet 1 front here. It says it once. Sheet 1 rear. Oops, see, it's just falling right apart. And all 4 of these say sheet 2 front. And they have the copyright and the, yeah. So I think originally the intention was to give you a quarter sheet of these extra markers to supplement these. Now, whether later they decided, nah, you need more, or they just goofed when they packed them all up and didn't realize, I don't know. It'll be interesting to possibly dig and find out about that. So let's look at the back. Let's look at the back. All right. So, all right. Yes. When they're flipped over, when they're disordered, look at those penalties. Let me zoom in so you can see those. -2s, -1s. 0. So my guess is the few units that had a plus, so you lose 1 additional firepower modifier, whatever that is. It's just, so all the, things that were 0 became -1s, and all the +1s became 0s, and the -1s became -2. All righty. Let's zoom back out to the middle section. So they're mixing and matching what's on the back. Fired, out of command, routes, fired. So whatever you grab, then the 1s and the 2, the hits, or 1s or 2 hits. But these markers, and that's the same thing here. The route defeated, that's the same back. No, they're not. Defeated, route, defeated, route. So I guess, yeah, it's like, well, what if you have a whole part of the line routing? You might need more than just 2. So I guess that was part of the reason they don't have those on this side. So yeah, I could easily see you needing more than one quarter sheet for some of these things. The defeated or the route as well. I don't know. You need that much smoke? You can have that much of your army in square? I don't know. Is everyone going to be out of command or low ammo at the same time? So, all right. So you've probably seen enough of the counter sheets. In general, I think they're okay. I definitely can read the numbers. It's a little bit busy with 6 numbers, but not horrific. I am a little concerned about being able to tell them apart by the color stripes. The main color stripe and the top and bottom outline of that color stripe having another color. And there's so many different permutations of that. But we'll see in practice. It's not a ton of units, right? That is not a ton of actual units. So it probably won't be too difficult. All right, so let's get to the map. I'm sure that you people who enjoy the visual stimulus of maps and counters are anxious to see those. Now, let's see here. It's very glossy. Wow, quite glossy. And feeling kind of thin because as I'm, oh my God, this is because it's a big 22 by 34. I can actually smell the ink kind of wafting off there. It's, I hope it's not smeared or anything on these. No. All right. You know, some of those printing inks can hold. Let's see, you probably can't even see that. It's at a it says Prattsburg right there. But I'm going to move this box out from under there so that'll lie flatter. That is definitely the problem here when trying to do an unboxing. Look at that glare. I'm going to lift the camera up. It might be a little shaky, but oh my goodness. Glare, glare, glare. Okay, I'm going to say, I've said it before, I prefer matte maps. I prefer matte counters. This is part of the reason why I like matte. Getting the glare out. Wow. There we go. So we got Crossroads here. To Sokolnitz. Let's see, is there any other? Can you read that? Kobelnitz and Sokolnitz. So there's two roads to Sokolnitz. Let's see. Augezd. A-U-G-E-Z-D. If anyone knows how the correct way to pronounce that, you can phonetically put that into the chat, into the comments. All right, so big turn track. That was the demoralization end. Phase track. What does that say? Wow, that's tiny print. Those are reinforcements, French and Russian. All right. This should have been a much lighter gray. These things could have been white, and these could have been a gray, you know, not necessarily that light, but I don't know. The mix of colors there are functionally, it could be tweaked a little bit. So far, I mean, I like the colors of the map. Don't like that gloss and shine. But yeah, this big hilly heights here, not a lot of terrain. You know, we got some trees here, some scattered. I highly doubt these individual trees have any effect. And I'm assuming the other map is to the north here. So let's get it out. Alrighty, let's set this down here so you're not flying all that. We do have cards too. That's something good for the visual viewer. We will try to get our way into there, even though that shrink wrap looks pretty tight with very little seams. All right, so now, all right, so I'm lifting up. So that is Pratzen itself right there. Church of the Holy Cross, to Koblenitz, Pratzen Stream. There's a letter B there, this zone. That's probably like an entry zone, and A is over here. So this big heights down here, the Pratzburg was what it called. That's Pratzen. So the heights near Pratzen, the Pratzburg Heights, Pratzen Heights. Bit of an orchard here. More forest along the river there. Forest woods, what are we going to, nice little village. Alrighty, so that's the map. 2 of those. I'm trying to remember how big SPI's Wellington's victory was. Was that 4 maps? Or is that just 2 like this? I do not remember. So, of course, this has much less units. Oh, goodness, yes. That had a ton of units in that. And splitting off the skirmishers and all that stuff, boy, that was some of those stacks were like crazy time fighting over the Hougoumont big skirmisher battles. All right, let's take a look at these cards. Pratzen Austerlitz. All right, let's see here. No. Oh, I do have. I kept that handy here. What I should do, of course, is what I was originally intending to do. And I'll do it now. I'll do this off. All right, folks. Saved you about 30 seconds there. Trying to be respectful of your time. And Meandering Mike can meander about certain things, but, you know, why waste your time for certain other things? So the number in the top, very big, is just a sequential number. So I don't know why it's that big. I don't see why you need it that big and obvious. It looks like a wax seal and all that stuff. Usually a card number can be much smaller. I don't know. So 2 kinds of smoke. Are they the same? Retain until played or discarded in a turn. Put a mark with smoke any flag or artillery command that makes a fire attack this turn. Wow. How many of those? There's, holy moly, mackerel. There's like 6. 6 smoke cards. Ooh, replace any smoke with a blaze marker. I get to set forests or towns on fire anywhere, because wherever there was a flag or artillery command that shoots, it can generate smoke and maybe cause it a blaze. Breeze, remove all smoke markers. But spread blazes, interesting. Blows away the smoke, but any blazes spread. Great. Wow, there's quite a few of those. Now that's weird. Okay, there's only 2 blazes. But there's 6 breezes, right? So there's 6 smokes, 6 chances to blow them away, only 2 chances to cause the fire, but these are pretty so I don't know, interesting choice there on how much smoke, how much breezes, how much blazing. Be interesting. Someone knows, was there any major fires that happened at Austerlitz, Pratzen? Was that just a general Napoleonic thing that sometimes things, a lot of black powder and smoke on the battlefield and confusion, but was there? This was in the dead of winter, right? So how many blazes are we going to get, right? I suppose if you're doing it in the midst of the forests can still catch, and the houses and such. Low ammo. 5 ball to the rescue. French player may play to rally. Kutuzov to the rear. Unmask guns. Okay. The scene from Napoleon, the latest movie there. That was sorry. I won't ramble about the movie. Panic. Leader hit. Concealed target. Broken square. Ooh. Wow. Just like that. You're charging the square. Play this. There's one and only one card, broken square. And they're treated as totally defeated. Boom, you got a totally defeated result. Ineffective volley. Infantry ammo shortage versus the low ammo ice was artillery. Right here. One infantry flag or artillery. Well, this is just infantry. Artillery, okay, they have a separate. They have general low ammo, infantry shortage, artillery shortage, dead ground. Interesting. The dice roll for any fire attack and treat the attack as ineffective. You're saying, hey, we were marching up and we marched into a dip when they shot at us and they didn't do nothing. I don't know. Elan. Column shift to the attacker. Close combat. Artillery, more resupply. Infantry, more resupply. Artillery refit. Cavalry panic. Oh. It's not the cavalry are panicking, it's the infantry are panicking because of cavalry. All right, impetuous charge. Oh, interesting. You can activate a cavalry charge. So if you can play this at any time, you can do it when out of sequence of normal cavalry charges. Interesting, I guess. Effective skirmishing. In avant. Infantry or cavalry to charge. It says some command of either side must do this. Or you must do this. If you get this card, you must do it. Marksmanship. Oh, temporary. Remove one leader. You've winged them or something, or scared to shoot out of them. Leader recovers. Rally to me. Well-timed volley. Drawing player must play by the end of turn if possible. Reinforcements. Next available reinforcement group, regardless of side, on their arrival hexes. So the next reinforcement comes early, which, might be just one turn early. Seize initiative. At the end of your turn, oh my goodness, he loses his whole turn. Really? Now, if a turn is just an activation of one command, that's okay. But if it's in your alternating, but if it's literally at your whole side, that seems harsh. Long range bombardment, concealed target, and shuffle. All right, folks. That was the cards. I like the artwork. Each type has its own artwork. Nice and period. I wonder how many that are based on real paintings or if they're just created for this game or not. All right. Playbook, rulebook, and then we're done. So I don't know if you order this. Oh, by the way, this is in print. Canvas Temple Publishing has it in stock, and their website says they have like 45 copies when I last checked. You may be able to find it cheaper elsewhere. I got mine from Noble Knight Games. I don't know if they have any left, but because I always order, I wait and I order when I have a full cart of $150 or more, and you get free shipping. So let's look at the rule book real quick. And of course, no, I'm not going to read anything from the rule book. I'll look at certain sections and maybe point out some interesting things. Nice to have a table of contents on the front. I can remember there's 20 pages. Yep, there's a close combat results table on the back. Oh, I set aside the box. Was there in that player aid? Was it? This is just one of the things that this one person was complaining about, that it wasn't on the player aid. Fire control, engagement, reinforcements. I'm going to zoom out so we can see the bigger thing here. Close combat odds table. That is not the same thing. Close combat odds table. Close combat results table. That's on the back there. Wait a minute. Excuse me. You're having to look here and then flip to here. Oh my goodness. Ouch. So there's this many column modifiers on the odds table. So you do have two of these, so you could at all times keep the two out, and you could take the one and place it here and have those two together in the center. Terrain effects chart here. Artillery fire musketry table. Yeah, that's where I would have put terrain effects chart on the back. So terrain effects. I'm looking at terrain effects. Oh, when you do close combat, you open it up, bam, bam. They're both right here. Boop, 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 boop. Reinforcement, engagement table. These seem like you use less often. Engagement, fire control, ceasefire. I think you're gonna use this more often. Terrain effects chart. You've also put the artillery fire table, the musketry fire table. I would put that on the front. Between that, all more used. Put the two close combat things in the middle. So when you're ready for close combat, you open it up. You have them both there. And then put these things on the back there. All right. So that's Meandering Mike's opinion on that. If I were to do that, just yeah. I've played a lot of games over the years, and I know it tend to. I mean, this is not on the map, so you're gonna, eventually you'll learn that and stuff. But you've got your artillery. Try to do this, especially early on. I would put that in the front. And since there's 2 of these, I would have those in the middle. All right, that's me. That's my opinion. That is my opinion. So having this on the back seems like the oddest of choices to me. Because, yeah, they've just stuffed them all here at the end. So they've got the rules. They've got all these charts here at the end. You got the player aid, so doesn't really matter. But yeah. Again, they're on opposite sides. I would have probably, in this case, I would have put this on the back. If that's handy, they're nearby. You could keep that near the edge of the map as the most useful chart to go for first. So even though it'd be the different order from the player aid, that's fine. In terms of, hey, I got a chart on the back of the rule book. What's most likely? These 3 together, probably not the most usage. All right, so optional rules. I'm going backwards. I do this sometimes. The event deck is optional. Ammunition is optional. It's kind of a good idea. Get an idea. Ammunition wagons is optional. Ammunition reload. Light cavalry fire. Smoke blazes and breezes. That's all optional. Well, it's part of the optional event deck, and you might use the event deck, but you might take those out and not use smoke blazes and breezes. Optional individual hits. So that's actually optional. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so you can see a little better. And they're tucked in there. The back before the player cards. That's a yeah. I would make that more prominent. Front page or inside front page, or you got here. They could have put it here. Look at all that room right here on the back or something, or I don't know. Give credit's due. All right. Oh, it always bothers me when they only have 5 people play testing. That's my opinion, that you need more than 5 people play testing. But I like the layout of the rule book in terms of having 2 columns, the bullet points. They don't have much of a margin on the center line, but they do have enough, the gutter and the end margins. It'd be nice to have a little more there, but it's not that difficult to read, so it doesn't feel cluttered. I hate it when you get up too close to the middle or to the edge there, but this is okay. I'm not alarmed by it, and they've got a variety of fonts, but not to the point where it's killing me. I mean, the most of it's this typical serif font. It's got serifs. They've got the option rules. They did a sans serif here. They did italics on some of these. I don't know if it should have really been italics or not, but that doesn't bother me. These little section headers or whatever you want to call those, yeah, that's okay. They're a little bigger. They're a little bolder. The italics doesn't hurt. And the color choice, I mean, it's the red on this beigeish end. It reads fine. I'm not sure it needed all caps, but now there's very few pictures in here in the rule book. We'll look at the playbook here in a second. We do have the counters, so that's good. Definition of terms, that's good early on. Did we have up front introduction content? No, we didn't. We didn't talk. Somewhere playing the game. I like having an early discussion of the victory conditions, the purpose. Let's see, do they mention that? Each scenario is complete. So victory conditions for each scenario vary. Okay. So in the, I'm assuming the playbook has the scenarios not in here. I didn't see so far. All right, so at least they do have this facing corner of the hex. So interesting, you never face towards the hex facing. It's always a hex point, a corner, a vertex, giving you 2 fronts, 2 flanks, 2 rears, as opposed to here having 3 fronts, 2 flanks, and 1 rear. So because of that, that means, yes, you have to be a little more careful. You have just as much front as you have rear. Even though I sort of like the idea of the situational awareness, you can respond to your front a little easier, but maybe, you know, very rigid formation in that, then it makes more sense to have your frontage be equal to your rearage. Stacking. Ooh, up to 5 of the same types. 2 units of different types, 5 of the same type. Wow. Oh, and for infantry, the same battalion. Okay, interesting. It has to be infantry of the same battalion maximum. Cavalry's playing the game. Phases. Events, optional reinforcements, command, artillery phase. Wow, that's detailed, obviously. Artillery engagement phase. Wow, basic movement rules. Okay, so here, yeah, these are actually the guts of the rules, but in the game phase order. So they're actually, at first I thought this is sort of like an annotated sequence of, no, this is like all the rules of the command phase and all the rules of the engagement phase and the artillery phase, infantry fire phase. So they're just doing it in exact order of how you counter them in the turn. Resolving infantry fire. Rally phase. Close combat phase. Ooh, interesting. Close combat is after the rally phase. Huh. Church of the Holy Cross. Its own little section, big major section. 2 hexes. Oh, oh, wait. No, yeah, this is on set. That's it. It's just saying, hey, here's these 2 hexes. It's the Church of the Holy Cross. I've heard thinking, well, is this the details of the church? No, these are more details of combat effects. Field of fire, blocking, firing with poor effect. So that's just general details of combat. So that's very odd, that Church of the Holy Cross section there. So this is sort of all the extra details in cases that maybe in the combat descriptions in the various phases here, they didn't cover all these, or they've combined these together conceptually so that there's kind of maybe some overlap between the presentation phase by phase versus the concepts of field of fire, blocking line of sight, fire with poor effect, covering terrain, etc. Combat effects on units. So there's probably some references previously where they say like see blah, or they say the name of an effect or something, but they don't go into the details of what that means. So you have to get that there. I think I remember seeing someone commenting about that, about the rules, that the stuff that you need to know wasn't necessarily next to each other. So this is probably what that person was referring to, that you got to sort of read that rule back there, the phase thing, and look over here to find the details. So you really can't step through that detailed sequence of play and play it. You've got to really read and understand both to actually execute. Optional rules. All right, so that's the rule book. I have no idea how much the total time is because we split our stuff. Playbook. All right. There are 5 scenarios. First blood, Austrian counterattack at Pratzen. Kamensky strikes back, the battle decided, and the struggle for the Pratzburg. Pratzen. Gonna pronounce that E, being Austrian, German. Where was the battle actually fought? No. What? My brain. Austerlitz, no. I was thinking of Eylau. The winter. When was Austerlitz fought? I should know this. I knew this once upon a time. Does it not say here in the introduction to the system? I was hoping for a little historical thing in the front. I didn't see any designer notes. Bummer. Always a bummer. I always like designer notes. Yep, I don't see any. Could have been on the back of the box, right? I may have. The thing I said I wasn't going to read. No, they don't even. They just go on about Grenadier and Reswitz's Kriegspiel rules. Talk about the scale. They don't tell us about the battle, the subset of the battle here that we're doing. So you tell me, 1805, when was Austerlitz? My brain knew at one point in time. Wow, no mention of the actual dates. Really? They got a little blurb north of the town. The Russian defenders near Stare Vinohrady, Marshal Sul, Telnitz, Skolnitz, counterstroke. Dates and times, man. Dates and times. The hexes that they enter. So, like, these if I remember, they're like 2-minute turns or something crazy like that. Is that what I read? Like, if you play the whole thing, it's like 90 turns or something like that. Here we go. Each hex is 125 feet. Oh my goodness. That is tiny. Yes, 2 minutes. Movement rates represent the distance covered. The standard march rate over approximately 2 minutes. Nominally 2 minutes per turn. But in some sense, it is impressionistic. Wow. Combat units represent military units whose normal frontage when deployed for battle is about 50 paces. So that it's, you know, you're actually filling up that hex. But the fact that you can stuff 5 5 of them in there. So I suppose if you were all in line and you're 50 paces wide, and what is it, 2, 3, 4 rank deep? Yeah, 2 deep or 3 deep lines. So, you know, the men are, you know, a pace or 2 apart. Yeah, you guys suppose cram 5 of them in there. but I didn't see any delineation for column versus line. And so you certainly wouldn't be able to mix like column and line dudes in the same hex. How wide were they spaced when they formed a square? I don't know. Anyway, meandering Mike, meandering. But yes, I am totally stunned that this game lacks the historical information about when. What month, what day? I don't remember. I want to learn. So I come to this game. Teach me. And I'm not seeing it anywhere here. Struggle for the Pratzburg. French columns emerge from the fog of the valley of Goldbach and ascend the heights of the Pratzen Plateau. But when? When was that? What was the exact time? You should know the exact time, the day, the month, the date, the time. We knew these things. I mean, I didn't remember the things, but once upon a time I remember which month this was. So, note to game publishers / and designers. 1, make sure you have the relevant historical information somewhere in the book, in the rules. If you're gonna, 1805, that's fine. But somewhere, say, this battle was fought on this day, this month, and for these scenarios, when you got 2-minute turns and all that, put the exact day and time. I mean, you don't have to be the exact time, but you say, hey, this battle kicked off at 08:30 or 2 p.m. whatever, 1400, depending on which kind of time clock you want to talk about. So, meandering Mike, meandering on, but that's a little pet peeve there. I'm kind of stunned that this was not included anywhere in here, not even in the back of the box, not in the playbook, not in the rulebook. All right, folks, Meandering Mike and the Man Cave of Madness. Wow, so the scenarios, they don't have a picture of like where. They talk about where you set up or where you come on. Not a single picture in the playbook. And the only graphic here is this. So that means this talk about line of sight and blocking, no examples. You should always have examples of determination of line of sight. That's one of the things that gets argued about all the time in these games. So, Fields of Fire, blocking line of sight. Yes, please, covering terrain. They do have pictures of the counters. Picture of one card up there. Yeah. All right, so more advice to publishers and designers. Designers insist that the publishers have a certain minimum standard. If you can do the basic rule book yourself, which personally I think, I get these all in order, the 26 card is run off by itself. I always am a firm believer that the designer should write the text of the rules completely themselves. And of course, as things get changed in development, that's fine. But the designer should own the text of the rule book. Keep that as your personal copyright. You are licensing the system to the publisher, assuming you're not self-publishing, and they can, you know, they can do their thing with their artwork, with their counters. They can do their, let's keep something visual for you guys. You can see something. That's the problem. I see if this had the color stuff, I could have that there. You could be looking at part of the map, whatever, as I ramble here and talk about these things. Now, obviously, as map or counter art is determined, but the designer should probably have sketched out by hand some examples, right? To make sure that it's understood what his design intent is. And again, you know, as development happens, if there's a separate developer, which usually there ought to be, and sometimes the designer develops himself, but sometimes that's not a good idea. But yeah, there should be there should be examples. There should be diagrams and such. And so as a designer, insist that the publisher gives you the right of final say on the rules. I mean, you're the person that's going to get blamed if the rules are bad. Even if they end up hiring, you know, a rules editor, have proofreaders, have the developer write or rewrite most of the stuff. But as a designer, in your contract, I highly recommend you reserve the right to have the final say on the rules, because you're going to get the blame. You're going to get the blame when things go bad. So, therefore, if it's bad, they should blame you. But if you don't do your due diligence to make sure that the publisher does the right thing, you know, again, that's on you. But all right, folks, Meandering Mike and the Man Cave of Madness. This has been an unboxing of the Pratzen Austerlitz 1805. Who knows what month? Who knows what day? Battle of Austerlitz against the French, against the Austrians and the Russians. Battle also known as like the Battle of Three Emperors. This is one subsection of it. You know, there was like Telnitz and the Pratzen and some other, I think there was like 3 sections of the battle or whatever. So Peter Perla's last game, Canvas Temple Publishing, it is available. You might be able to find it elsewhere, but you can get it straight from the publisher. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. It's I've never played a Napoleonic game with a 2-minute turn scale, so that'll be interesting to see. But it does look like it's not overwhelming. It's a you know, mini monster in the sense that, you know, when you get to 2 full 22 by 34 map, that's pretty big. However, the counters are so small in comparison. So yeah, I'm not going to call it a monster. You got a big playground, a big field to play in for your 5 scenarios. So some of these scenarios are probably going to only be on one of the maps. Struggle for the Protzberg. Is that the whole shebang? It doesn't easily say. Start on turn 1 and end after turn 9. Yes. Okay, this is the whole thing. Map sheets both 90. Let's do that really quick here before we sign off. So the first one, First Blood, turns 1 through 30, the north map. Number 2, Austrian counterattack at Pratzen. Start on turn 1 and end after turn 40. Well, no, it says this corresponds to turn 35 to 74 of scenario 5. So if the whole shebang, you're playing these 40 turns in the middle. So this is 30 turns. Then there's 5 turns missing, sort of. Here's interesting action starting at turn 35 of the whole thing. All right, on the north. The third scenario, Kaminsky strikes back, i.e. the Russian Empire strikes back. Where does it say here? It's the south map. Turn 30 through 70. So there's between the two, there's overlap of time there. So for the battle decided both maps starting on turn 40 through 90. So that's in the middle. This one starts at 30. This one starts at 35. So you're starting sort of like, so there's probably in these other two, the second and third sphere, there's some movement to engagement, and then this is probably roughly when they're engaged. You're there and you're going to finish out the battle on that stuff. So the last 50 of the 90 turns, 40 through 90, and then there's the whole shebang. The struggle for the Pratzen, all 90 turns, both maps. So there you go. All right, folks, Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness. We are now going to sign off. I will attempt to find my other games by Peter Perla. They are buried somewhere in the Man Cave storage, and I'll probably do some kind of a compare and contrast video like I've done in the past, where I look at like a particular designer, multiple of their games, or different aspects of different things to compare and contrast. But that's a good use of that. So look at the two Civil War games that he did. Maybe compare and contrast those two, since those are area movement. And then the Risorgimento 1859, I might just cover that on its own at some point, or who knows what, but try to see if it's similar to some other Berg design. Berserk was a co-designer or not. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not similar to this system, and it's certainly not similar to the area movement Civil War games, American Civil War. So, I mean, even though time period wise, it's only 2 to 6 years away, but my guess is Risorgimento there in Europe and Italy, there's probably more emphasis on cavalry than there was in the American Civil War, that's for certain. But we'll see. So, coming sometime this year, when I find those, we'll do some follow-on video, and maybe if I can find my copy of The Art of Wargaming, we'll take a little peek at that. And I know there was at least 2 or 3 different versions of it that it got reprinted a few times. So, but a number of you have probably seen the classic cover from, was it 1990? I think it was 1990 when it first came out, hardback. So, all right, Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness. I'll have to splice all this stuff together. We have 40 minutes on this last bit, so all total here we're probably close to an hour, or at least 50 minutes. Longer than I wanted to, of course, but Meandering Mike, meandering, and saying goodbye to Peter Perla. All you good folks out there, take care and ciao.